Coming up on this week's episode, we're talking through what happened last night between Tottenham and Chelsea. Let's look at the bottom teams in the league and also Newcastle. Liam has this week's quiz. There's more wonders of why and who am I, so let's get started. Hello and welcome to a new episode of View from the Sunderland podcast. It's Chris here. Liam's here. Hello, Liam.
Hello, Chris. How you doing, mate?
Just about recovered. Recovered.
It was a bit breathless, wasn't it?
Wow. I mean, probably not going to see a game like it for a long time, I wouldn't have thought.
No. It literally had everything. It's one of those games where people say it had everything and they would actually be accurate.
Very stressful to watch, from my point of view.
Imagine how it felt to be a Spurs fan.
Yeah, and it could have gone a lot different, but we're going to talk about that in a minute. But yeah, do you want to quickly talk about Villa? What happened?
Not particularly. It wasn't our finest hour, but I'm not going to panic just yet. It was one of those days where it just wouldn't go in for us. We didn't really create that much, but credit to Forest actually. I thought they played really well, defended well.
There is in Wonders of White later. There is a Forest one in there. So
is it that we never seem to win at the City Ground?
But it's not directly aimed at Aston Villa.
Okay. So, yeah, we never seem to do well. They seem to be a bit of a bogey team for us.
Well, they beat us at home this season, so
yeah.
So yeah, let's talk about the game last night, Tottenham versus Chelsea. Where to start would be my first thing. So I think what's probably best is if we split it up in sort of a timeline fashion.
Yep.
About what happened. So I think we both agree that Chelsea started rather slowly,
yes,
and poorly, and they didn't look organised, and the positioning it seemed really off from my point of view. And I would say that Tottenham rightly took the lead, albeit through a deflection.
Yep.
They were pressing a lot more than Chelsea, and they punished them. Colwill was a good defender, but he's not a left back for me.
No.
There were numerous occasions in that first 15 minutes where Kulusevski was literally just toying with him. He gets the shot away, takes touch and goes in the back of the net.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have the first VAR decision, which is Son's disallowed goal.
Yes, close, wasn't it?
Very close. And to be fair, I was sat in front of the TV. I just give it to him because I thought the way we were playing, I thought we might as well just stop now because it was just really,
it was a good goal as well, wasn't it?
It was well worked.
Yeah.
We made it look better than what it was, I think, because the way we were defending, we were just too high, which is ironic, really.
Come on to that in a bit.
Yeah, and it was a good finish from Son, and yeah, luckily it was disallowed. I mean, it was close. VAR helping us out slightly there. Next was the 2-footed tackle.
Yes.
Now, I think there's a mix on this one about what people actually think of one of the tackle and two of the decision. Now, it went to VAR and their decision was not a red. Now, I kind of agree with what Gary Neville said, that what's it got to take for him to be sent off? Is it for him to actually break the leg off Sterling? So I thought it was a red. I personally thought it was a red card, and I think Sterling did well to actually, get out of, of the tackle himself. So I kind of agree with Gary Neville. for him to have been sent off, are they saying that he would have actually had to make full-on contact?
Yeah.
Because I thought the rule was if it was dangerous, either way, that tackle is going to be a rather painful one for Sterling either way. So I don't know about what you thought of it, whether you thought he should have been sent off.
I think it was one of those that if he'd have been given a red card by the referee straight away, they wouldn't have overturned it. For me, looking at, again, the rules, like you say, did it endanger an opponent? Well, yes. From my opinion, yes. He dives in, it's out of control. There's 2 feet, and I think, again, I can't believe we're agreeing with Gary Neville here, but it's been in the laws of the game now for 20 years. You can't do a 2-footed tackle.
He's off the ground as well.
Exactly. And I think the only thing that potentially saved him is that how he sort of landed. He wasn't flying at full force. There was, he tackled with 2 straight legs, yes, but he didn't jump in to the tackle, and that was what let Sterling sort of avoid him a little bit. But for me, if that were Villa playing instead of Chelsea, I would 100% be wanting the opposition sent off in a tackle like that. So I did think it was a red card as well. And like I say, I think if Michael Oliver had sent him off straight away, I don't think VAR is overturning that the other way. So, yeah, for me it is a straight red.
Okay. Next one is a double VAR. The first one is Sterling's goal, which I think we can both agree that it was a clear handball, so it was never going to be given. But before that, they then switched their attention to a coming together, shall we say, between Colwill and Romero, where I can't remember what happened, but Romero is on the floor and he has kicked out at Colwill.
Mm-hmm.
This one I'm in an R and about because
it was a weak kick.
It was very weak, wasn't it? It wasn't. I wouldn't say he's not done it to endanger. It wasn't malicious in a way, was it? I think it was more of a kick just to let you know that I'm here.
Yeah, and, it was a tap on the way through, wasn't it?
But my thought is, after he's done that, would he not think twice about maybe doing something a bit more silly later on in the game?
Which you would have. Yeah.
To the next double VAR decision. And this is still after, 30 minutes?
Yeah.
Caicedo's fit. I mean, it was a really good finish from him.
Lovely goal.
Probably not going to score a better goal than that this season, but unfortunately, the linesman actually called it offside. So he's done well, the linesman, actually, to see it.
Yeah.
But it does look like that obviously Jackson is, I guess, blocking the vision of the goalkeeper.
Again, though, not much in it though. He was.
Heel, maybe.
Yeah, it was sort of the bottom portion of his leg.
Bear in mind, the offside goals. So the Son one and the Caicedo one both took about 4 minutes, didn't they, each?
Yeah.
To get to the conclusion, even with lines, I think it was quite unclear at first for them. But whilst that's all going on, I hear Gary Neville piping up saying they need to look back at a potential penalty, which I actually didn't see.
No, not on the first viewing. No, definitely not.
But then when you went, so they obviously goal wasn't given as offside. Then he goes back to the foul. Now, bearing in mind that Romero had just kicked out, I think 5 minutes before, at a player. He wins the ball, but to me, this is probably in the dangerous category for a tackle. he gets the ball, but his leg is high.
Straight, and lands on the ankle.
And to me, that was malicious, and to me there was intent in that one.
Yeah.
Which is weird because they both play for the same country. So obviously they go to VAR. It's a penalty.
It takes a long time to make that decision, but yeah.
But again, it takes a while to get to the decision of, obviously, I guess they're trying to figure out whether he should be sent off. And I think as soon as he goes to the TV screen, I think we all know what's coming. It was for me, it was a straight red.
Mm-hmm.
Players have been sent off for doing exactly this. I think Curtis Jones got sent off, didn't he, for a similar tackle. And obviously Chelsea get the penalty and they sent Romero off. Now, what they did say after the game is if Jackson wasn't offside, the goal would have been given, but would they have gone back, do you think, for the tackle? Obviously they can't give a penalty because they've given a goal, but would they have still looked at it and said, well, yeah, that's, he's won the ball, but he's gone right through, Enzo Fernandez. So it would be interesting to know what they would have done in that situation, because he's still, in a way, it's still a very bad tackle. Anyway, you look at it. So,
I'm going to play devil's advocate here for a minute. Would they have gone back to? I'm surprised people haven't spoken about it a bit more. Maybe they have, and I've just missed it. A very blatant Raheem Sterling dive.
Yeah,
because that was what they were originally appealing for, was Sterling being fouled literally 5 seconds before the other tackle went in.
Yeah.
And there's clearly no contact. So I'm surprised. I don't know what you do in that situation. Literally within 10 seconds, Sterling had dived, Romero had stamped on Fernandez, and then Caicedo put the ball in the back of the net. I don't know what you do to clear all that up.
Yeah.
I think they just about got it right for that incident last night.
So we
go on. There's more.
They score the goal, score the penalty, makes it 1-1. Trying to think of the next one. There was a review for Reece James, wasn't there? For a flaying arm.
Yeah. It was quite soft. Yeah, it was quite soft, I think.
And we also had a Colwill anger issue where it felt like he was trying to do his best to get himself sent off.
Yeah.
I really don't know why he got involved in all that. Half time, thank God.
Yeah.
We made it as a half time. Rightly so, he takes him off, takes Colwill off. Bearing in mind, in the first half, Tottenham have used three subs and 2 occasion.
Yeah, 2 opportunities. So yeah.
If you're Ange, you're saying to a doggy, don't, whatever you do, if Sterling comes at you and he goes to the right, just leave him.
Don't dive in.
Do not, under any circumstances, tackle him or dive in. 52 minutes gone. He does exactly that, and rightly so, gets the second yellow. To be fair, he should have already been off anyway. So, but at that point, they're probably thinking now, what do we do? What do we do? And do you know what they do?
They set up camp on the halfway line. That's what they do. Yeah.
And then I watched 20 minutes of Chelsea players getting caught offside.
Yeah.
Every 2-3 minutes, someone's getting caught offside. But I think it was inevitable from then, really, wasn't it? That
it was just chance after chance. I mean, again, I was watching this last night as a neutral, and I was genuinely thinking, if Cucurella, who came on at half time, had any kind of sense about how to be a striker, he could have probably had about 4 or 5 goals, because I was watching him consistently for about 15, 20 minutes, just running at full pelt from probably about 20 yards inside his own half and just full on sprint to the halfway line, and then getting really frustrated that no one's passing him the ball. But it's because he's gone way too early and he's obviously miles offside. Even saying that, he'd had a one-on-one, and he wasn't the only person, by the way, to have a one-on-one with Vicario. He could have easily scored. I mean, in fact, I think it was actually 2-on-1, and he just refused to pass to whoever was with him. I can't remember. Jackson had some as well. It was just constant. Vicario spent most of his time about 30, 40 yards outside of his own goal. Every time there was a ball over the top, he was so far out of his own goal. He was essentially not even playing sweeper. He was playing in centre midfield. It was one of the most bizarre, I'd say, 30, 40 minutes of football that I've ever seen. I've never known a tactic of anyone go down to 9 men and think, right, we need high pressure football.
It worked in a sense that...
Yeah, to a certain extent, I suppose it did.
I think from a Chelsea point of view, it was trying to work out what they needed to do to get in, and the right thing was a slow build up and wait for someone to just run through midfield like they did with Sterling and when they got the second goal. That was what they needed to do, not pump balls over and just expect people to run on. That wasn't going to work. And I guess from a Tottenham point of view, that was what they were trying to do, and it worked for 20 minutes. But I think once Chelsea got that second goal, they kind of figured out the way to do it.
Yeah. Formation just went out the window, didn't it? Formation was literally, this is not an exaggeration for anyone that didn't watch it, the whole Spurs team were on the halfway line. Like, not even like a back four.
It was a line of 8 players, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Or 7 players with Son just kind of like drifting up a bit further. But
you had about 5 up front at one point, because obviously the 2 wing backs just went, well, I'm not going to be...
He took Enzo off and brought Mudryk on. We were playing with 4 up front, basically.
Yeah.
But bearing in mind, when it went 2-1, about 2 minutes later, Tottenham did score. Eric Dyer scored the best goal he's probably ever going to score in a Tottenham shirt. Only because he's offside. I mean, at that point, I was thinking, why have we done this? Like, a stupid free kick to give away.
5 goals ruled out for offside last night.
Yeah, but then, we got the third deep into sort of stoppage time, and then, we got another one as well. Jackson ended up getting probably the easiest hat-trick you're probably ever going to score.
He could have had a double hat-trick.
Yeah,
really.
I mean, it
so many chances.
If we would have converted some of the chances and managed to stay on side for some of these as well, it could have been 7 or 8, really. But saying that, I thought their goalkeeper, although Jackson got man of the match, I think their goalkeeper,
made some great
even
saves.
though he conceded, 4, I still don't think that, there was not a lot he could really do.
No.
And Son almost scored as well.
Yeah.
When he kind of almost got through, and it was a good save from Sanchez, to be fair. But my word, what a roller coaster of a game that was. I think we both agree that we've never seen anything like that before.
No,
it's unbelievable.
And I don't think I'm ever going to see it again. It was brave, but to get 2 men sent off and then think, I'm just going to park the team on the halfway line and just try and catch everybody offside. I'm now getting more used to watching it. So Villa play a really high line, not to the greatest effect this weekend, but it's worked for us really well. We do catch a lot of people offside, so it can work. But when you've only got 9 players, I think
they just lost their heads last night. I don't know what it is about Tottenham, but this isn't the first time we've played them and this has happened. I think 2 seasons ago we played there and Son got himself sent off for kicking out a player. And we ended up winning that one as well. So it was a feisty game, but
yeah. I mean, there was of course the famous game where they had to beat you to stay in the title race when Leicester won the league at Stamford Bridge.
We were never going to let that happen. But
no.
2-0 up as well, they went.
Yeah, but they lost their heads that night, didn't they? And it cost them the game.
They literally started kicking the players.
Yeah.
They ended up like 8 or 9 yellow cards, I think, in the end.
Yeah, so it's obviously no love lost between the two sides, but really, last night it worked so badly against them because they were so dominant for the first 10 to 15 minutes that it almost needed something like the two-footed tackle, I think in particular, to wake Chelsea up because you did look asleep. Like Colwell, like you say, he's not a left back, but he was playing so narrow, he was just letting Kulusevski run at him every single time, and I just think the team were fast asleep. It needed that tackle from the doggy that didn't get a red card in the end. But that seemed to wake you up, and I think it was their own fault really last night. They shouldn't have done that if they'd just kept.
I think without the sending offs last night, I don't think we would have had a chance last night. The way that we started that game.
Yeah.
I think if the Son goal if he's onside and gets given, it's a completely different game. We never would have got back.
Yeah.
Never would have got back from 2-0. So.
Yeah, agreed.
It was to their own downfall, unfortunately. But from a Chelsea fan's point of view, one, it's a win, which I ain't seen a lot of them recently.
No. And
2,
4 goals.
It's against Tottenham. And 3, we actually scored 4 goals in one game.
Yeah.
But we've got Man City on Sunday. So, let's see how long this optimistic side of me actually stays, because I think it will be a very, very different game on Sunday. I think even though I think we would have lost last night, I think we would have pressed more. I think on Sunday, I think you're going to see a defensive side to us, and I think he'll be going for the draw.
You're not going to park on the halfway line? No?
Definitely not, no.
It doesn't appeal to you?
I can't see Thiago Silva catching Erling Haaland the ball through from the halfway line.
No, but then again, I couldn't see Eric Dyer catching Raheem Sterling either, but they still tried it, so, yeah.
It was a mad game, to be honest with you, so. Anyway, let's talk about, I think, the teams that have been promoted last season, because we haven't really talked much about them since the new season of the podcast. All 3 struggling, I think it's fair to say, especially 2 of them. So let's start right at the bottom, and Sheffield United, albeit they got their first win on Saturday against Wolves. Conceded
that was a bit of a dodgy penalty, I've got to say, but yeah, they won't mind too much.
Conceded the most this season, 30 goals in 11 games, which when you work out is literally over 2 goals a game.
Yep.
Really, really struggling. Didn't really bring too many in over the summer, did they? And anyone that they did bring in, I wouldn't say were, should we say, first team players last season. They seem to have spent the big money on a striker from Villa.
Yep.
And that hasn't really worked, if I'm honest. And they already now, are they on 4 points?
Yeah.
Probably in big, big trouble already. I mean, when you see the gap between them and Everton in 16th, what we talk, same for Burnley as well, 7 points.
Yeah.
That's a huge gap to be trying to claw back. I would say this though, for the 3 teams that got promoted that are struggling, Bournemouth are just as bad as the 3 teams. And already, I would say you are looking at 3 out of those 4 teams to be going down. And Luton are probably the surprise out of the 3. They are doing the better. They've managed to draw 3 games and win 1, whereas the other 2 are 1 win, 1 draw. So the style of football that Sheffield United and Burnley play is just not great, and it's not Premier League standard football that they're playing. And this isn't me having a dig at them. This is me, I think, being realistic and saying that they, the sort of defensive approach that they're, especially Burnley, Sheffield United are a bit more attacking, I would say. I would say that the style of football that Burnley play, and it seems to be completely different to what they were playing in the Championship last season.
Yeah, they were known for playing sort of good, high pressure attacking football, and it does seem to have changed. But
whether it's just the players they're just unable to play that sort of style in the Premier League. I'm not sure.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think both of it's only a couple goal difference between them both, but both struggling.
Yeah, I think, like you say, Luton have probably surprised people a little bit more. I think just generally because they look a little bit more solid. They tend to be in games. Burnley and Sheffield United have both been losing quite heavily. Obviously, Sheffield United's big loss was to Newcastle. Newcastle will get some big results against teams this season, so I think they can write that one off. But even in games against sort of mid-table teams at the bottom, like teams around them, Sheffield United, if they've lost, it's been 3 or 4 goals conceded, like you say. So I think Luton have done a little bit better there. They tend to be losing games by the odd 1 or 2 goal here and there, and I think they can certainly improve. We sort of criticised them, didn't we, at the start of this season? Their transfer policy was sort of, there wasn't much Premier League experience with the players that they brought in. And I don't know whether they've sort of realised that a little bit. They brought in Nakamba, and I know he's played a bit of Premier League football for us, but he was never really like a first-team starter. But he had a bit of experience. But other than that, there wasn't really anyone. And they brought in Andros Townsend now, so I think maybe there's, he's a good head to have in the dressing room. And he's done all right with a few minutes that he's played so far. I think he started his first game for them this weekend. So I think he'll be quite important for them.
Yeah, I watched the game on Sunday, and I thought they were really unlucky not to have got the 3 points there, to be honest with you. Liverpool seemed very, very low on confidence, to be honest with you, and they were really struggling to find a way to actually break Luton down. And what Luton did well was that it was in the midfield that I thought that Luton were winning a lot of the possession through the midfield, and they looked confident on the ball. I mean, when they were passing, it wasn't sort of ball over the top to the striker to try and get. They were actually playing some half decent build-up play, and they were frustrating Liverpool. And if they could have held on for just another minute, they probably. And I was begging for them to take it to the corner flag. A few times they had the ball, I thought, just take it into the corner.
Yeah.
But Liverpool did the best. But I quite enjoyed the way that they played, if I'm honest.
Yeah, and I think we did touch on it at the start of the season. I think Luton, and there's a few clubs that have done this. It was a sort of fairy tale for them to get promoted, wasn't it? Let's be honest. They were the small team, like the plucky team that managed to get up from the Championship, and this was, them in the big time for the first time in however many years. When you get a team that does that, I think the fans, no matter what this season, they just want to enjoy it. They want to go to as many games as they can. They just want to see their team in the Premier League, get as many wins as they can. And I think when the fans have that kind of attitude, they create an atmosphere at home that makes it quite intimidating for anyone visiting. And I think that might see Luton through this year. We've seen it with, like, Bournemouth did it themselves, didn't they? You know, remember when Bournemouth went from League Two to the Premier League and everyone said that they're never going to survive. This is their 1 year. And they obviously, like, exceeded all expectations under Eddie Howe. But it was because I think it didn't matter if they lost a game to Liverpool or whoever. Didn't really matter because the fans were always going to be 100% behind the team. And I think Luton are going to have that this season. Sheffield United and Burnley, not so much. And I think it will start getting a little bit negative, maybe, in the atmosphere at home games. And I think that leads a team at the bottom to struggle then. We look at Everton last season. The fans were really getting on the back of players. They just scraped over the line. Sean Dyche said it's a little bit happier this year. And they've been seeing a few better results, and I think they'll be fine this year. But that is the kind of atmosphere that can keep you in a league. So if the Luton fans get behind them, the atmosphere again against Liverpool was really good. So I think if they can continue that, it'll just give the team that added boost. They'll think they can beat anybody at Kenilworth Road. I don't think they're going to be scared of anybody. So, yeah, I think out of the three, they've still got the biggest chance to stay up, I think.
Yeah, I mean, Bournemouth are really... They were terrible last season, Bournemouth, to be fair. And they haven't improved. If not, they've got worse this season. So it's going to be interesting to see. But already it kind of looks like it's going to be 3 out of those 4.
Yeah, I can't see anyone else being sucked into it. I think, we've mentioned Everton, but I think they'll be okay. They're the nearest at the moment. And then you're looking at, like, Wolves and Nottingham Forest. And I thought Wolves would struggle this season, and I think they're about where they are going to finish. But I can't. They're miles better than the 4 at the bottom, so I think you're probably right. I can't see anyone else being dragged down. Fulham are the only other team that are down there at the moment, I think, that might want to get a little bit nervous because they just don't seem to be scoring that many. So if there is anybody, I think it would be them that get dragged into it. But I think like you, it's going to be 3 out of those 4. It's just going to be a bit of pot luck, I think, by the end of the season as to who it is.
Especially when they play each other, it's going to be quite interesting. Cool. We're just going to quickly touch on what happened in the Newcastle game at the weekend. Yeah, I mean, Arteta, I think has come out and he's spoken his mind. Which may or may not get him into trouble. We're going to have to wait on that one. But obviously it's the VAR, it's the decisions, I think, that he's saying. Haven't they, like, written a list of, like, all the decisions that have gone against them or something, and they're going to submit it, I've heard, to the FA, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
It's a bit petty. I mean, a lot of clubs could list a lot of things that VAR has gone against them. So, what did you think of it anyway?
Well, he's doubled down on it today as well. He's basically said, I'm always going to defend my players and I don't see anything wrong with what I said. I think, well, first of all, to describe what happened, everybody thought the ball was going to go out. Then it was debatable as to whether it did go out. Newcastle get the ball in, cross comes in, Gabriel goes flying, ball ends up in the back of the net. VAR then decides, well, we can't really tell whether the ball's gone out or not, so we'll stick with the decision. Then is there a foul on Gabriel at the back? We're going to have a look at that. They decided that there wasn't. Then they had a look at offside. This all took about best part of, I think, 6 or 7 minutes, something like that, to look at these 3 calls. Then they had a look to see if there was an offside, which again was a bit debatable. Then they didn't decide to look whether it was handball on Joe Linton, which looked a bit debatable again, because it looked like it did hit his arm from a couple of angles, but maybe not so much from other angles. There was about 4 reasons why this goal might not have been given. And I think for Arsenal to have been, I think for the decision to have been that all 4 are okay, I think Arsenal are very unlucky. I think the ball probably is in.
I think it's in. I think the ball.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that I'm quite happy with that. But then after that, you can clearly see his hand on the back of Gabriel's neck, sort of pushes into him. Then I think it hits his arm. And then as for offside, I don't actually know, because it's sort of like he's level with his own player, and the ball kind of goes backwards. So I don't know. Yeah, and the keeper's out as well, which always makes it difficult, because then you're reliant on like 2 defenders being behind. But I think it's a foul, and I
thought it was a foul, and I think it was handball as well.
Yeah, so I think they are unlucky, Arsenal.
Yeah. I would say at least 2 out of the 4 decisions did go against. I don't. It's hard to tell whether it did go out or not, but I would say from the angles that I've seen, it's probably just in, but I thought it was a foul. When I saw the replay, I personally thought they were going to disallow the goal. I was almost 100% thinking, when I look at all these different things, I'm thinking, sure, it looked like a foul. I thought if that was anywhere else in the pitch, I thought that would.
Yeah, he jumps and he puts both arms on Gabriel's neck to stop him from jumping.
Yeah.
For me, yeah. I mean, it's a soft one, but
it's soft.
It's stopping him from making an attempt to play the ball.
You can't get the ball. So I mean, it's one of those. If you're a Newcastle fan, you're gonna think, "Wow, it's a bit soft," The handball. Can he get his hands out the way? It's so.
Yeah.
I thought they were unlucky, but to be fair, Newcastle did play quite well.
They did play well. It actually livened up a pretty dull game. It was pretty boring to that point, but they stifled Arsenal really well going forward. They defended again incredibly well.
When I watch Arsenal, I just don't think they're that good at going forward.
Yeah, I think they need a striker. I do think, and I think they mentioned it on Match of the Day. I know Nketiah's had a few goals recently, but I think need
it's not
someone.
The quality that they need, especially for Europe. It's not. Jesus just seems to be injured all the time. I still don't think Jesus is an out-and-out striker.
No, I think he needs to be up top with somebody.
He needs someone there, because he's not. He has got a bit of pace and a bit of skill, but I don't think he's like the complete package up front.
No.
And Havertz is still a mystery to me where you play Havertz.
Yeah. He didn't have a great game.
No. But, I thought they were unlucky, but I think Arteta is probably taking this a bit too far.
Yeah. Let it go, mate.
He is going to get himself fined.
Yeah.
And banned if he keeps this up. We'll have to wait and see what happens there. But anyway, that is the end of part 1. We're back in part 2 where Liam's got a quiz, some wonders are white, and who am I? Hello and welcome back to part 2 of this week's episode. We're going to go in with some wonders of white, Liam.
Yes.
Now I did promise you a Forest one.
Yeah.
So here it is. Nottingham Forest have only lost 2 of their last 20 home games in the Premier League. Did you know this?
I didn't know this, no.
They've won 9 and drawn 9. Since the start of October 2022, only Manchester City and Liverpool have lost fewer home games in the Premier League.
Yeah, I mean, based on the performance from yesterday, the day before, I've got to say, they looked really well organised at home. Not surprised now. But no, I didn't know that before. That is news to me.
So since the start of the 21-22 season, Christian Romero has been sent off 4 times in all competitions for Tottenham.
And it could have been twice yesterday.
Ridiculous, really.
Yeah.
So in last night's match between Tottenham and Chelsea, the ball was in play for just 43% of the total match time. It was in play 47 minutes, 57 seconds of the 111 minutes and 15 seconds that were played.
Wow.
That's the lowest percentage of any Premier League game for the last 2 seasons.
And we've still crammed in so much action.
Yeah. And the last but not least, so this is actually a percentage table of match time in which Premier League teams have been ahead this season. Manchester City topped this with 47.9% percentage of match time that they've been winning, so that's nearly more than half. Newcastle 47.3 in second. But the real reason I did this was because Manchester United are 4th from bottom, 15.8%, which isn't great. And Sheffield United have the worst of 4.5%. Villa have 35.9, Chelsea have 31.4. West Ham are actually 4th on this table as well, 38.9. They're actually just 1% behind Liverpool, but only 15% of match time that Man United have been ahead.
Yeah, says it all about this season, really, for them, doesn't it?
Yeah. Burnley have actually got more than them. They're just above 16.2. Yeah.
So all the late winners.
Yeah. Cool. Quiz time.
Yes. Quiz. Right. This time we've got a classic odd one out quiz.
Ooh,
so I'm just going to read 10 statements and you have to tell me who or what team doesn't fit the criteria of the statement. So, are you ready for question number 1?
I am ready.
So, question number 1 is, players with 100 international caps or more. Your 4 choices are Damien Duff, Daley Blind, Gary Neville and Robinho. So one of those players doesn't have 100 caps. The other 3 do.
Now, Damien Duff. Now he was more than likely playing every Republic of Ireland game. Are we talking Robinho as in the guy that thought he was signing for Manchester United, but actually ended up signing for Man City?
That very same Robinho, yes. The guy who just wore gloves no matter what the weather was and liked to throw a strop if he was on the bench.
He would have played a lot of games for Brazil because he was actually a fairly decent player. I kind of feel like Daley Blind would have played a lot for. I'm torn because I now think it's between Duff and Neville, and after what I just said about Damien Duff as well. I'm going to say I'm just going to go. I'm going to say Damien Duff.
It was the other one, I'm afraid. It was Gary Neville. Yeah. I don't actually know how many caps he's got, but yeah, all the other 3 are over 100. Robinho was the one that surprised me because I knew he'd played a lot for Brazil, but I didn't realise it was that much. So not a great start.
I think he had played a lot before he actually came to England. I think that might have been what it was.
Not an amazing start, but the questions, some are a bit easier, some are a bit difficult. So don't worry too much. So number 2, clubs that have won the Champions League. So your 4 choices are Atletico Madrid, Benfica, Borussia Dortmund and Feyenoord.
All very good teams. Now, I'm almost certain that Benfica have won it. So I'm going to eliminate them. I know that Feyenoord, I think, have won it as well. So now I'm torn between Dortmund. Who was the other one? Dortmund and
Atletico Madrid.
Atletico Madrid haven't won it.
Correct. They haven't, indeed. Yes, you're right. Benfica won it with Eusebio, I think. Many, many years ago.
Yeah,
Feyenoord, you're
Benfica
right,
was
won it.
probably 60s, because I'm pretty sure 70s was Ajax won it as well, didn't they? A few times, I think. So.
Yeah. And Borussia Dortmund won it with a certain Paul Lambert in centre midfield.
That was
in the 90s.
96, 90.
Yeah, somewhere around then. So yeah, well done. I'm just going to mark you down as a point there. Question number 3. This one's a little bit difficult, but I think you'll have a good go at this. So, players that have scored a Premier League hat-trick.
Ooh.
Your choices are Craig Bellamy, Mason Mount, Peter Crouch, and Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. One of those hasn't scored a Premier League hat-trick, and the other 3 have.
That's a good question. Ooh.
I thought this one was pretty difficult, but then I thought you'd probably know if one of those players had scored a hat-trick, and possibly if 2 of them have, as they did both play for Chelsea. But I don't know whether their hat-tricks did come for Chelsea, if they did score one.
I just think for longevity, I think Bellamy would have probably got a hat-trick. I am going to say Crouch.
Incorrect, I'm afraid. It was Craig Bellamy. He's never scored a Premier League hat-trick, and the other 3 have. I'm assuming Mason Mount was for Chelsea.
No, he did. It was not last season, season before, under Lampard.
Right. So, yeah, Mason Mount obviously for Chelsea, Aubameyang for Arsenal, and Peter Crouch got one for Liverpool, I think. Or it might have been Southampton. Not too sure. Question number 4. Members of France's 2002 World Cup squad.
Lovely.
Blast from the past here, trip down memory lane. So your 4 choices
They didn't last very long.
They didn't last very long, no. 3 games and out. So your 4 choices are David Trezeguet, Djibril Cissé, Emmanuel Petit, and Robert Pires.
Who was the first one, sorry?
David Trezeguet. So one of those 4 didn't go to the 2002 World Cup.
Now, I'm almost certain. So it was Cissé, Petit, Trezeguet,
and Pires. And this one's probably quite a difficult one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just mention.
I'm not.
Are you confident?
I'm going to go with Pires as the odd one out on this one.
Correct. It is indeed Robert Pires.
Because I remember Cissé playing.
Trezeguet played many games.
Trezeguet would have been there because he would have been him and Henry would have been the strikers with Cissé.
Yeah, and I remember Petit in the game against Senegal. In that kit. Do you know the 2002 kit? And it's quite a classic French one. Yeah, so well done. 2 out of 4 so far. Question number 5. You'll enjoy this because we spoke about it a few weeks ago. Scottish title winners. I know how much you love Scottish football. So your 4 choices are Dundee,
I'm guessing you're
Dundee
not
United.
the Rangers on this one.
No, I'm not going to give you the two obvious ones. No, you got Dundee United, St Mirren, and Kilmarnock. One of them hasn't won the
So
Scottish title.
Dundee United,
St Mirren and
St
Kilmarnock.
Kilmarnock. I'm trying to remember the conversation we had.
Yeah, I did include a Scottish quiz not so long ago, and this was actually part of it. I think
Yeah,
we did run through the title winners
because there was a team that had won it, wasn't it? But they're no longer.
Yeah.
But if my memory serves me right, I believe Dundee and Dundee United both did win, as did Kilmarnock. So I am saying the odd one out is St Mirren.
Correct, you are right. St Mirren haven't won the Scottish title, but the other three definitely have.
I do listen. I do remember.
Well done. No, I'm proud of you. Question number 6 is players bought in Abu Dhabi's first full season in control of Man City. Thought you'd like this one. So this is basically players that were bought in the 2009-10 season for Man City. 3 of them were, 1 of them wasn't. So your players are Gareth Barry, Edin Dzeko, Patrick Vieira, or Carlos Tevez.
Oh, blimey. Blimey.
Cast your mind back.
Go through the 4 again.
Gareth Barry, Edin Dzeko, Patrick Vieira, or Carlos Tevez.
I'm almost certain Tevez was one of them. Because he was sort of the focal point with him and Adebayor. And I swear we've spoken about Patrick Vieira being at that Man City team as well before.
We may have done a couple of weeks ago.
So that leaves me with Gareth Barry. Who was the other one?
Edin Dzeko.
Well, I don't think that if they bought Adebayor and Carlos Tevez, I don't think they would have bought Edin Dzeko as well. That's if Adebayor was the same season. All I've got now is Adebayor scoring a goal against Arsenal running the length of the pitch.
Yeah,
I'm going to go with, just because I think Adebayor and Tevez were their 2 strikers that season. I don't think Dzeko was until maybe at least 2 or 3 seasons after, so I'll go with Dzeko. Oh yeah, you've already said.
Yeah, gonna say, you are correct. Yeah, Edin Dzeko.
I forgot about Gareth Barry then. I was like,
yeah, no,
I'm assuming he signed from Villa then, did he?
He did, yeah, he did. Yeah, he could have gone to Liverpool, I think, a year or so earlier and didn't, and then went to Man City when all their money came in. Yeah, Edin Dzeko was a couple of years after. But I don't know whether they did have Adebayor, but they certainly had Tevez, and they had Robinho actually as well at the time, just because we mentioned him earlier.
Did they have? They had someone else as well. I've forgotten his name now. Joe, was it Joe? Was
yes,
Joe
he did.
There, or was he pre-money?
He did play for them. I'm just going to have a look. Because I've
Didn't they
closed.
also have Benjani as well in that team?
He did, yeah. He played for them for a while. He was before money, I think. So the transfers in were. Oh, yeah. There is another striker on here that none of us have said. You were right with Adebayor, by the way. He came in.
That year, was he? Yeah.
He was the same price as Carlos Tevez.
How many strikers could they have bought if they had Tevez, Adebayor, Joe?
There was another one. See if this is not part of the quiz, but see if you can guess the other one. He did play for them actually quite a lot. Well, I say quite a lot. Actually, no, he didn't. He's more known for playing for another team in England.
What team might that be?
That team might be Blackburn Rovers.
Santa Cruz. Roque
Yes,
Santa Cruz.
Roque Santa Cruz. £18 million they paid for him, and they paid for £25 million for Adebayor and Tevez.
I mean, just for him to score against Arsenal and run the full length of the pitch, I think they got their money's worth on that one.
Yeah, they sold Darius Vassell that season as well.
What a shame.
Step down, going from Vassell to Tevez. Anyway, so yes, you're right, and I've lost track of how many you've got right now, but I think it's 4 out of 6.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to go along with that. So question number 7, little bit tougher now. Players who have scored in the top 4 English divisions.
Lovely.
Your 4 choices are Steve Claridge, Steve Finnan, Billy Sharp, and David Nugent.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, Steve Claridge has probably played for every team in the NFL.
Yeah, every single one of them.
I literally have no idea. I'm just going to go with Dave Nugent. I have no idea.
Correct. You are absolutely right.
100% guess. So.
Yeah, David Nugent has never scored in League One.
He's a one cap. He's a one cap as well.
He is a one capper. Yeah. Billy Sharp again has played for just about every team in the league, but Steve Finnan was an odd one. But he has scored in.
I totally forgot about Steve.
The top 4. Yeah, I think a couple for Fulham and Liverpool, and then I don't know who he scored for in League 2. But anyway,
Steve Claridge literally has. We couldn't do a Who Am I on Steve Claridge because it would take too long.
It'd take a whole episode. So well done, 5 out of 7. Question number 8: clubs that have won the top 3 tiers of English football. Your choices are Manchester City, Aston Villa, of course, Leicester City, and Portsmouth. This is all time, by the way, and this is not since the Premier League.
I was about to say, because it would have been fairly straightforward.
Yeah, because we haven't won anything since the Premier League has been created.
I have no idea, so I'm going to take another shot in the dark, and I'm just going to say Man City.
Correct. Well done. Your guesses are doing you good tonight.
Again was a straight guess.
6 out of 8.
There's no way you would have put Villa in there if they were the...
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Not a chance. Question 9 is even more obscure. I know you enjoy that. Teams that have won the EFL trophy. So 3 of these haven't, 3 of these have, 1 of these haven't. Your 4 teams are Birmingham City, Blackburn Rovers, Swansea City, and Luton Town.
The EFL trophy.
Just because we mentioned it last week, I think, or it might have been the week before, but when it was called the LDV Vans, the Johnson's Paint, the Papa John's, yeah.
I am going to go with Birmingham.
Incorrect, as much as I would have loved to have included them because they hadn't won it. They did win it. The one that haven't is Blackburn Rovers.
Oh, yeah, I suppose. Well, they have been in League One, haven't they?
They have been in League One. Not so long ago, actually, but no, they've never won the EFL trophy, I'm afraid. Question number 10. This is one for all the Southampton fans out there. Players who scored in Leicester's 9-0 win over Southampton. Your 4 choices are Jamie Vardy, Harvey Barnes, James Maddison, and Jose Perez. A little bit more recent for you there. You might remember this actually happening.
Yeah, I was actually on holiday when this happened. In this country, though.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, I was actually driving to an Asda, and they said that Leicester had won 9-0. Sorry, well, Vardy scored a hat-trick, I'm pretty sure. Who was the other options?
Your other options are Harvey Barnes, James Maddison, and Jose Perez.
I'm going to go with Barnes, because I think this might have predated Barnes, if we're thinking 4 or 5 years ago.
It didn't predate Barnes, but you are right.
Oh, right.
Again,
Oh. Was he playing from there, was he? Didn't Perez score a hat-trick as well?
Shall we see? I've still got it open. So, yes, Perez got 3. Jamie Vardy got 3. And then there were goals for James Maddison, Yuri Tillemans and Ben Chilwell.
Oh.
Harvey Barnes did start, but my sources, well, I say my sources, Google tells me that he was substituted off. But it doesn't say who came on for him. So yeah, you're right. 3 for Perez, 3 for Vardy.
It couldn't have been because he was having a poor game.
No, they were doing all right, weren't they? Look, I think Damari Gray might have come on for him. There you go. Was it really 5 years ago now? 4 years ago, yeah. October 2019.
Yeah, I was in Weymouth that day.
So, yeah, well done. So 7 out of 10. That's pretty good, considering that quite a few of those were genuine guesses.
And I guessed literally 3 of them as well.
Yeah, so well done.
Okay, so this week's Who Am I? I couldn't think of a player, and then all of a sudden 2 players randomly popped in my head. So I've got 2. You can choose one. I would say one is sort of medium difficulty. One is quite hard.
Well, I was a bit mean to you on some of those questions, so I think it's only right I'll go for the hard one first.
Okay. So the hard one is he is retired and he played for Monza, Juventus, Lazio and Chelsea.
Monza, Juventus,
yeah,
Lazio and then Chelsea.
Yeah.
So he retired when he was at Chelsea.
He did.
Monza, Juventus. There's not many people that would have gone from Lazio to Chelsea. This one is quite a difficult one. Monza, Juventus, Lazio, and Chelsea. There's not, because you've had a few Italians play for you, obviously quite famously, but it's obviously not Zola and it's obviously not Vialli.
I can give you a clue.
Okay.
Although he was at Chelsea for 2 years, he only actually played 10 games for Chelsea.
Okay.
Because he got very injured.
Right. Okay. This makes things quite difficult. That is, of course, if he is Italian. I'm just sort of assuming that he is Italian.
He is Italian.
The only one I can think we mentioned not so long ago.
Yeah.
And that was Panucci, I think. I'm going to guess Panucci.
Before you say Panucci, I'll tell you it's a striker.
Oh, okay. Oh, is it my favourite person from the 1990s? The guy that I can never A, remember his first name, and B, pronounce his second name. But I'm going to go with Casiraghi.
Pierluigi Casiraghi, yeah.
Pierluigi. I can never remember if it's Pietro or, yeah.
He played 10 games for Chelsea and he scored once. He got a really bad injury when he was at Chelsea. But his goal that he scored, I believe, was against Liverpool.
Oh,
now,
big one to score.
The second Who Am I is connected to that goal. Okay.
Right.
This player, he played for Bradford, Coventry, Liverpool, Tranmere, Sporting Lisbon and Sunderland. Now, the day that Casiraghi scored, something memorable happened in that game to this player.
Right. So could you repeat his clubs for me? So
Bradford,
it was
Bradford, Coventry, Liverpool, Tranmere on loan, Sporting Lisbon and Sunderland.
Oh God, that's an eclectic mix of clubs, isn't it?
The biggest clue I can give you is he was well known for this game because he collided with a certain thing.
Yes. I think I remember. Because I was thinking for a little bit there. Coventry to Liverpool doesn't happen very often, but I could think of a lot of players that went from Liverpool. I can think of a lot of players that went in the other direction, like David Thompson and McAllister and people like that. So it's got to be Phil Babb.
It's Phil Babb, yeah.
Phil Babb colliding with the post.
Yeah. Yeah.
Always gets a smile, really. I mean, I feel for him, I really do. But yeah, it always gets a laugh every time that's replayed on TV, which is
quite a lot.
Dozens of times a season.
He was probably on a lot of the blooper videos.
Yeah.
I would have thought. But yeah, no. Going back to Kazaragi, it didn't. It didn't work. It was a cruciate ligament that he sustained. It says here with a collision with West Ham goalkeeper Shaka Hislop. He had 10 operations to try and sort it, but he never actually recovered, and Chelsea actually ended up terminating his contract in 2020. He was given an insurance payout by Chelsea.
Blimey. So it took a long time to sort that out.
Yeah, he then did seek legal action against Chelsea for unpaid wages after his contract was terminated early. But yeah, he never recovered from that. He has had a fairly up and down sort of managerial career as well. So a couple of years after leaving Chelsea, he actually went back to Monza as a youth team manager. And then he took over a job at Legnano, I think in Italy. Before then being the Italian under-21 manager for 4 years. He then took 4 years out of the game and came to Cagliari as an assistant. And then a year later he joined Al Arabi as their assistant, and then he actually was assistant at Birmingham City, which is his last job.
I mean, that would put you off football, to be fair.
What?
just being there, Birmingham City.
Harsh. He did, to be fair, he played 44 times for Italy. But yeah, never really, I guess, recovered from that injury. And I imagine after 10 operations, I imagine at that point you've probably got to think that it's probably time to.
Yeah, it's a shame because I don't think he was even 30, was he, at the time that happened? I think he was still sort of late 20s, still had a few years left.
He was. So what's that? 23 years ago. So he was 31.
Yeah.
When he left Chelsea, and the injury he sustained was 2 years prior to that, so he was 29.
Yeah. So there you go.
So yeah, it was a memorable game for many reasons. One, it was his only ever goal he scored for Chelsea, and two, Phil Babb scissoring the goalpost.
Yes, and he did. It's it did always come up on the sort of own goals and gas videos that you used to get as a kid. But yeah, I didn't realise he went to Sporting Lisbon. I do vaguely remember him playing for Sunderland, but
yeah, that's where he went after. Let's have a look.
After colliding with the post.
It was they got too much for him, so he had to leave. Phil Babb. So let's see what happened. I mean, he wasn't much of a goal-scoring defender, let's just say that. He actually scored 18 goals in 374 games. He scored 1 goal for Liverpool in 128 appearances. So it says here that in January 2000 he joined Tranmere on loan. He moved to Portugal on a free transfer in 2000. Okay. He played 38 official games. He actually scored in a UEFA Cup game against Thailand. He ended his career at 33 with Sunderland. after they got relegated. So yeah.
Again, that's enough to finish you off in a football career.
He did have a brief managerial career for 2 years in 2013 to 2015 with Hayes and Yeading United in the South.
That's fair enough. I mean, I don't know how that happens, but yeah. He was a solid defender back in the day.
And in 2006, he became an investor in the Golf Punk magazine, alongside Sunderland teammates Michael Gray, Jason McAteer, Thomas Sorensen, and Stephen Wright. They actually saved the magazine from closure.
There you go.
One
man of many talents. Yeah.
Many talents, and yeah. To be fair, it doesn't mention this. Oh, here we go. No, it does mention the in 1998, Bab was involved in an infamous blooper against Chelsea, which ended him sliding into the goalpost with a leg either side, injuring his coccyx. So he actually got injured from it as well.
He did, yeah. He was, I do remember hearing that he was actually quite badly hurt after that, so, yeah. Sorry, Phil, for laughing. I'm sure we're not the only people.
Yeah. I mean, it is on every blooper video that you can watch. If you haven't seen it, I mean, just go onto YouTube and just put Phil Babb in, and I'm pretty sure the first thing that will be it. Scissoring the goalpost. Anyway, that's it for this week. Anything else, Liam?
I just hope for better from Villa next week. We have Fulham next week. And hopeful for more games of a similar quality to the Chelsea Spurs game. Maybe less people on the halfway line.
Maybe let's not involve Chelsea this time, so I can just relax a little bit more. And there's international break, isn't it, after that?
Yeah.
Again. So, England playing 2 games that they don't even need to play because they're already qualified, but never mind. Anyway, that's it for this week. And we'll be back next week.